On this episode, my guest and I attempt girl talk even though neither one of us know what we're doing. Her name is Renee and she's my favorite mom. Well, besides like my mom. To me, Renee is an amazing example of what a modern woman should be. And being that I'm a new girl dad, I need all the examples I can get. She's smart, she's beautiful, she's funny, all the stereotypical things we want a woman to be, but she's also resilient, assertive, and extremely talented. And some of those things are hard to do when you're in a world, in the words of Gwen Stefani, defines you as just a girl. She balances the two perfectly, and I couldn't ask for a better example for my daughter. We also talk about that if you're going to go to a costume party, wear an effing costume. Let's jump in. This is a Moderately Good podcast. I am the host, Scotty, and hopefully you're coming back and listening again. And if you're a first time, well, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Y'all guys are in for a motherfucking treat. This is gonna be a good podcast. We got a lot of special guests. Everybody's a special guest tonight, pretty much. But before I get started, my regular shout outs. Above Average Joe. He does all my cool videos. He does all my cool pictures on Instagram. He does anything that makes me look cool. He probably had some part of, other than picking out my clothes. I don't let anybody do that. I do that myself, but we actually have him in studio tonight. So Joe, say what's up.
Yo.
Yeah. So, yeah, ladies, what do you think about that? Right. I mean, just like, listen to that voice. Just.
Oh, you know it.
Yeah. See, I mean, just short and sweet. Like, whoa.
That nasal will really get you, you know?
Yeah. Like, how you doing? Do a little how you doing, Joe. Go how you doing?
How you doing?
So yeah, that's not too bad. So where can they find you on Tinder? I'm just kidding. Anyways.
Above average.
Yeah. I'm just going straight above average Joe and ask for like you want a picture set, like a real sexy set photo shoot. I don't know. This is all horrible. It's going south. We're gonna go into somebody else. Shout out to my guy. Guest? Shout out to my guy Jaron. You can find him on Instagram under No Name Originals. He does like custom bleaching of clothes and stuff like that. And every once in a while I wear something that he's like done for me. Really cool stuff. He does some cool artwork. So if you're into art and stuff like that, check that out. And then last but not least, my guy Mo, he has the, it's called the Go Bubble app. That's Go Bubble with the _ app. Because apparently he couldn't get it without the underscore. It's unfortunate. Some people have to use underscores. Isn't that right, Joe?
Yeah, the above average people.
Above average people, like any above average with your name, especially Joe. Like Joe is number one option for that. They're just not. You have to use underscores, right?
At least I'm not above average Joe with the underscore is plus a number.
Yeah, or one.
Right. Yeah,
you have to be like.
I am the only underscore above average.
Point.
Yeah, that's very so. Yeah. Anyway, so. My very special guest. The way we know each other is it's interesting because I actually know her husband, but I kind of really got to know you at the same time and getting to know him. I knew him, but like we all were kind of in college together because some of us spent a lot more time there, me especially. So like I met y'all both.
You and Joy were living together.
Yeah.
And Jared lived with you for like a small moment of time, right?
Yeah. And by the way, this is Renee.
Hi.
Hi. So say hi. So hi, Renee. Really
hi.
Quick. Okay. And just really quickly, shameless plugs. What is your bacon Instagram?
I'm an underscorer, so it is.
I mean, there's a lot of underscores out there.
Listen, it was hard.
Yeah.
To read.
So
I was something, and then I lost it with the great Instagram meltdown a couple weeks ago, and had to rebrand myself. And of course, everything I want to use is taken. So I'm an underscorer.
What did you try before? We'll get to what you got. But what did you try before you got there? What would you?
Well, I was Kate Couture.
Right. Great name.
That's what I do.
Right.
However, I lost it. Instagram said I can't have it back because somebody else has it. I have it, motherfucker. It's mine. They won't give it back to me. It's whatever. So I'd start over. So everything I could think of, like 3 boys, bakery, hot mom. I mean, I don't know. I'm
Did
throwing all
you
this
do
shit
like
out.
like three boys, one cake?
No,
I mean,
I
no.
did not.
You do have
Close.
3 sons. I want to make that clear before you fucking say.
This is true.
Fair.
Oh yeah. The 3 boys were referring
Wait, so
are
do I get to do my
boys.
backstory? I am
3
married with 3 children,
3 boys
and they are
bakery.
boys.
Well, anyways, so
All right.
yes,
All right,
so
so yeah.
so you settled on
So I got boy mom bakes,
with underscores.
but it is boy_mom_bakes.
Okay. And the great part about it is like if you follow me on Instagram at podcast and moderately, we tag all this stuff so people can find you through there as well.
Okay. And I may send you some cookies with your logo on it one day. You
yeah,
never know.
that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, you might want to tell them like what you actually do.
Oh
with
yeah, so let's
your,
talk about this
boy
really quickly.
bakes.
Hey, we'll get back.
So I bake.
We'll get back to your family. We'll get back to them. There's plenty to unpack there.
Okay. There's so much. Well, there is. There's a lot. Well, what do I do? So in general, I'm a mom. I'm a wife. I'm a teacher. I'm a baker.
Like how? Like I don't know what this says about me. Okay, but like, okay. When you the first thing you were gonna say, what you said you're a mom. Like the first thing that was gonna come out was like you're a MILF. That was the first thing. Like I mean, because like, and I'm just trying to be very. Renee is very pretty. You'll see it on the video. And
thanks. Cheers.
Well, and Renee, yeah,
Appreciate
cheers.
that.
Yeah. And Renee's in the health. You know,
I try.
We're getting older, and so we're having to work harder. Right.
Praise, we are.
Anyways.
I'm 42.
Anyway, yeah. So you know what I mean.
Or am I 43?
I don't know.
Hashtag Apple Watch challenge.
You don't even wear your Apple Watch.
But I already won. I don't have to do it anymore.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
We digress.
So I would like when it came to my head, I was like, is that insulting or is that like a compliment? I feel like
Wait,
it's
what?
That if you were like being a MILF, is being a
Oh.
MILF a compliment?
I mean,
Renee, what's it like to be a MILF? What's it like? What's the everyday
Like all
life?
Well,
compliments, it
I'm
probably has to do with who says it, right?
exactly. But here's
And it's a mother I'd like to be friends with, just so y'all like. I don't
Oh.
want y'all.
Totally.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. You just want to be
You're
friends.
absolutely the
So
MILF for me.
I would say in the other MILF definition that my oldest son will come home and say things that his buddies say. And I'm like, well, I don't understand. Like, when do they, he never has friends over at our house. And I'm like, why don't you ever invite friends over? I just thought it's because he hated being around his brothers because we like, you know, we don't let him do too much privately. We hover a lot. He's our oldest, so we don't know.
Yeah.
He's like, no, my friends just, I don't like my friends to come over. Well, why not? I don't know, Mom. They think you're all hot. And I was like, well, I don't know.
It's not my fault.
How do I take that? Like, am I flattered? Am I not flattered?
Well, that's what
These are high school
that's kind of
kids.
what I was.
Like,
Can I speak from some experience? Because I had the same
you're a
problem
MILF?
in high school.
Please
No.
No.
I
Tell
was
us.
the kid
tell us,
who
Milk.
Your
had
mom?
the mom that everybody thought was a MILF.
Okay.
And it was funny for about 10 seconds. And then I was like, okay, this needs to stop immediately. And it never stopped. And so I can say it never got to the point where I didn't want to like have my friends over or anything like that because they weren't like that. But at the same point, it was like, it was one of those things where I was like, yeah, if this could never happen again, then that's also okay. Like if they never see her ever again, that's also okay.
Yeah. Now,
You know what I mean?
do I think that's why Jackson doesn't want his buddies over? No, I don't think that's why. But he just, I don't know. He like when he talks about it, he's just so annoyed by it. I was like, I'm sorry. And it makes me self-conscious because then I'm like, I don't want to say hi to his buddies. Then I'm like, am I making him uncomfortable? Like when I go to basketball games. And I know a lot of his teammates.
It's not your fault, Renee. It's not your fault.
But it's not like I show up and, I mean, I go to.
Yeah. No. I will say this. Like, how can I put
I'm
this?
not the overly.
This is
You're
this
not
is
a
a compliment.
Stepford wife. You know what I mean?
You
don't
dress
like
age
that.
appropriate. Like you look good in the clothes that you wear, but you're not like sexual about it.
But
Does
I'm
that make
also not the outgoing parent. That's Jared. Like,
And
when-
Jared being her husband, by the way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my husband. But when buddies come over, he's the high five, the hug, the small talk with them, and I'm just like, hi, doing whatever I'm doing. Like
Right.
I don't know. I find it awkward at this point now to ask too many questions because then I'm like, is Jackson going to be mad at me for talking too much to his friends? So I just I try to keep my distance, but no, I mean the buddy, that's Jared. That's Jared's role. I mean, he's, they've all got handshakes and dubs and whatever they do together, and I'm just like, tis the life.
I have questions,
I have
but
too many questions.
I don't want to know those questions. Or do I?
Yeah.
Are they safe questions?
Yeah.
No, I mean they're off air. We'll talk about it. Anyways, so okay, so you do long story short, Instagram got hacked. She had to restart it. It's Boy Mom Bakes.
It didn't got hacked. It didn't. Well, yeah.
Or something. She lost. You lost it.
The big blackout we had. What,
Right.
2, 3, 4 weeks ago?
Oh fuck! It was.
Yeah,
You
there
know,
was
when
a
everyone
bunch of
left social
people.
media and
Yeah.
died for 24
There was
hours.
like a handful of people that never got their accounts back, and I guess you were just one
I know.
of those.
I barely survived.
I thought I got hacked. Well, here's the funny part. My last post was a cookie that said, because it was for taco. It was National Taco Day, and I made a cookie that said, well, let me think about it. It said,
I think I saw this. You reposted it, right?
I did, and I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. Because it was like one of my favorite cookies.
Yeah.
And it said, I'm a taco slut, a taco, if you will, right?
Yes.
Like,
I
I'm
love
calling myself one. I'm not, like.
You're not discriminating against tacos.
That's what it was.
Well, slut shaming and all that,
Against,
like.
against taco people.
People will like flag it and whatever. And I was like, there's no way in hell that my cookie is what got me kicked off. But it wasn't. It was really, I just got sucked into the black hole, never to be found again. But yet my name is still taken by me, but I can't have it.
Well, at least nobody else can get it.
Do you
Well, they
have,
can't.
You have all the photos though at somewhere, right? Or did you lose a lot of those? Because you had some, like, she hasn't really fully explained what she makes. These custom cakes and cookies, and they're freaking amazing. And like,
I've seen some hella cakes. I've seen you make some hella cakes.
Yeah, I've made some good ones.
Like amazing cakes and cookies. And like, I always show people them, and they're always like, "Oh my god, I want these for my party and stuff." I'm like, "Well, if you lived in Houston, that would it would make some sense."
I do ship.
Hey, how about this? How about how awesome this was? So at one point I was married, and you made my groom's cake.
I did.
And it was a giant ring pop.
I did.
I mean, that already sounds impossible.
Hey, listen,
And
I
Renee
even
made that
custom
happen.
made the cake stand to make it look like a ring pop. I was in my garage with a miter saw and all that shit, sandpaper.
And your 44th birthday?
Oh yeah, the
spinner cake.
that was a good one.
Yeah,
But
I'll post those too.
listen, that cake only worked out because you took a picture with it.
Yeah, what you
Like, you made the cake look good.
No, the cake was good.
No, the cake would have looked done by itself.
Well, then we had that photo.
Well, I have a picture of the cake by itself. I still think it looks good.
No, it looks
looked
so much
awesome.
better with you holding it.
It with
your jersey
that
and the
cake
teeth.
and that party led to that photo of my jersey and your jersey being on what's his name's Twitter for a minute. Right?
Yeah, but like that, we were facing backwards, and I wasn't holding the cake.
I'm just saying it was the same party.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, still, it's fine. I'm saying you made the cake, though. You made the cake look good.
No, you made
It was
the
your
cake.
braids, is what it was.
It was your teeth. No, he had his grill in.
I think it was the braids. Everybody
I think
had
it was
teeth.
all
I
of
had
it.
teeth in too, but like
There's
I
gonna be
didn't
so
look
many,
as
I'm
good
gonna have so many
because
pictures
the
I'm gonna
braids.
have to post for this
You're
whole
gonna have
thing.
to post a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
I tried teeth, but they kept falling out
That was
all
a
night.
great party.
All I'm gonna say is that like I just kind of was like, hey, what if you do this or what? I just kind of like was poking you to see what you think you could do. Like I think you had the final kind of say of putting that together and making it look really, really good. Give yourself credit. It was a really awesome cake. Most people don't even know it's a cake. I don't know what they think it is, but like
exactly.
But you know what I mean? Like it looks real enough or looks cool enough that people don't even know it's a cake.
I don't know. You would know what it was unless, honestly, even in your picture with you making it look cool, I still don't know if people look at it and say, "What is that?" Because you had to send me a picture of what you wanted. Because I was like, I don't know what that is.
Well, I mean, look, if you know, you know.
Tell
If
me
you know
again.
elbows,
Tell me
if
again
you
what
know
it's
some
elbows.
Elbows.
is it some kind of like trophy or something? Like what are you getting?
Exactly.
But I mean, so like it's just a Houston thing.
Still tipping.
Still tipping. But it was a fun party.
Yeah.
See, but you're the kind of person that parties well because you're like all into the costume and the event and the theme.
Okay, so
those
who's
are my kind of
okay,
parties.
So
So,
idea what we are planning for Jared's party in a few weeks. Oh, it's gonna
Has
be
he-
she kind of
you
knows.
do know?
but
Yeah.
does
Well,
has he
and,
shared
oh,
with
by the
y'all
way, when
what
people hear
he's-
this podcast, we will have already gone to this party. So like, but we have a plan. But it'll be
Oh.
cool talking about it in the
Okay.
past or future. Is that what?
Whatever.
Anyways,
We're gonna inception this podcast,
Yeah.
right? So
What?
we're good.
But has he told y'all what he's trying to put together? He's got to have sent you pictures.
He hasn't sent me
he
anything.
didn't send me anything.
Oh,
Anyways,
then I shall not speak upon that.
I ordered my shit today, so it's gonna be a good
Are
time.
you? Am I allowed to say? Are you wearing the zebra pants and the crop top too? Yes. Okay.
Not a crop top, but I am wearing zebra pants with a cutoff shirt, and I ordered some shoes, and I ordered some a wig. It's gonna be
so
interesting.
I guess it really doesn't matter because
I don't have the long hair to deal. He has the long hair naturally. I have to wear the wig. So.
Yeah, I have to do something with it.
When this event happens, this podcast will be way late, and no one knows what the fuck we're talking about anyway. But the point is like we're going to an '80s party, and Renee was saying like how we're always all in. So me and Joe decided to do the whole zebra pants, like Van Halen, like like big hair, bandanas, white gloves,
But like the parachute pants.
No, I'm doing tights.
These are like yoga pant tights.
Like the leggings?
Yes.
All right.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
And so when you say like, hey, when we do so this, let me touch the subject for a second. So we all have a mutual friend. I don't want to call him out. I was going to say we have a mutual friend that went to your birthday party. Okay. And he didn't dress up.
Recently?
Yeah.
Like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. Anyways,
We may not have hair.
Fair.
Okay.
Got it.
And so I asked Jared to go. I asked him, I go, why did this individual not dress up? And he goes, well, it just, he feels weird about blah, what. And I'm just like, what do you, like, you're going to go. What do you have to lose? Do you really want to all night long people come up to you and go like, hey, how come you didn't dress up? Where's your costume?
Yeah.
Do you really want to go through that? Or do you want to experience the party? And so when we go to do something, like, what's the point of going half-assed? You might as well go all the way in and like have a really good time and have a really good experience. That's what life's about. It's about stories.
I mean, if it's a costume party, know the assignment. Show up.
Renee, do you have?
I've already got my costume picked out for next year.
That's great. I have a list of costumes that I just kind of go through every once in a while. I'm like,
ready.
Which one of these? Like, I'm going to tell you this right now. Before I cut off, you can mark this podcast. Before I cut off my hair, I'm going to be Daryl from The Walking Dead. You can guarantee. I'm going to cut my hair into that shit, and I'm just going to shave my head.
I mean, you basically walk around as him every day anyway. I mean, it's not really like a stretch.
Killing zombies, riding motorcycles. Yeah.
You need to get a crossbow.
Yeah.
And a leather vest, but I feel like you have that already.
No, you can just get them on Etsy. They just got those. They got those Daryl vests on Etsy.
Yeah, you saw his Jax Teller costume.
Yeah,
like it was. You sold. It was so good. You
why are you
sold
gonna do
that
something
shit.
like, hey, why are you gonna do something half-assed? Like try to like
Some people just don't get it.
It's just, but like I don't know.
Okay, so here's the funny part about the next coming up party. I didn't realize. I knew what we were doing and I knew where we were going, but I didn't realize it was dress up.
Was it not? And then we made it that way?
I think so. But that makes me so much happier because now I'm like, well, what am I going to wear?
I mean, how are you going to have an 80s party without dressing up? What does that
so
mean?
Because we're going to a bar.
Did one of us make it dress up? I thought it was dress up.
Well, it is. I mean, Jared's dressing up. And again, I shall not spill his surprise if he has not shared it with you already. But
it better be epic.
I've seen bits and pieces of it. I have yet to seen it all together, but I look at it and I'm like, oh.
I want y'all to do some. We're talking about the future right now. Like it's going to be like the Matrix when this comes out. I don't know how the Matrix.
We're talking
works.
about the future in the past.
I don't even know what that means.
Be the future now, but it's the past.
What?
When we see it.
It's a lot.
Yeah, I can't take that.
Speaking of the 80s, someone should have been Doc Brown. All this time travel shit.
All right, so
so I need a costume for this. Apparently.
Yeah.
There's so many. The 80s for
Madonna.
girls. I mean,
do the old Madonna like a virgin.
No.
Hey, you want Jackson to be upset? Show up in some lingerie.
The full on like the cones Madonna thing. Or
no.
Are you gonna? No?
I'm not gonna do Madonna.
He's like, oh, god damn it! Now my mom's Madonna for
80s
Halloween.
I don't even know. I don't think they would know who that is.
You could be the 99 Balloons girl.
No.
You don't know who Madonna is?
The kids.
Oh.
What are the,
I know who she is.
Hey,
I'm talking about them.
Let me tell you something.
They'd be like, oh yeah, it's the girl that
mom showed up in lingerie. And she'd be like, I'm Madonna, but like, you can be whoever you want to be.
It'd be like, oh no, it's the girl that performed with Justin Timberlake at the Super Bowl not that long ago.
Janet Jackson?
Oh no, wait, when did Madonna? He performed with Madonna also though.
Yeah, he had that song with her. Or whatever.
For that whatever that cartoon movie was. I forget what it was, but it was a song for that movie.
I digress.
No, it wasn't cartoon. It was I can't remember what it was. Doesn't matter. Steve Carell.
You're making shit up.
I'm not making it
Yes,
up.
you are.
It's called something seconds, 21 seconds or something like that.
Oh, 21 Seconds to Save the World?
That song.
Yeah. What about
He
it?
performed that at Super Bowl?
I don't know if it was a Super Bowl.
No,
It
he
was
did
some.
not.
It was some kind of a
Justin
award
Timberlake
show or
performed
something.
with Janet Jackson, and that was the booby
Right.
exposure thing.
I stand corrected. You're right. It was not the Super
Thank
Bowl.
you.
It was something else. You're right. I'm sorry. He tore off the thing and showed her titty. Whatever. Same difference.
It had a pasty on it. It's so stupid.
Right?
Apparently,
I
there's a
always thought it was.
documentary coming out about that. Like, they're still investigating it. I'm like,
But
but
investigate
why?
what?
30 for 30.
The booby exposure.
Why?
30
That
for
had a-
30.
Or
What
did
is
it have
there-
a
what's
pasty?
there to
Did it have a
invest-
pasty?
Yes. What
I
is there
thought
to
so.
investigate?
So you know it was planned. I
What-
don't know.
What is there to investigate?
I don't know.
That they just decided that it was an accident. I'm so sorry. It should never have happened. Wardrobe malfunction, even though I wanted it to happen.
That's why I had my nipple covered.
I mean, come on, man.
Dumb.
Come on, man. The fact that we still censor network television is beyond me. Like, the
Oh,
kids,
what was I watching
like,
not
kids-
too long ago? I was watching the BBC, and they say fuck like you would say
Yeah.
the.
Yeah.
It's like, what? What am I watching?
It makes
Like, oh, no,
no
it's totally
sense.
fine over there.
Like I have a niece in middle school, and there's no way that the censoring is for like that generation and lower because
No.
they all every parent I know now. So when I was a kid, like this is how it was. When I was a kid, probably when you guys were kids, your parents probably
We're a
didn't
lot
swear.
older, so.
But no, that's what
When
I
you
mean
were
though.
a kid.
But but first of all, fuck you guys. Second of all, what I mean is, it's probably even more extreme for you guys, is that when you were younger, your parents probably didn't swear a whole lot in front of you.
Oh, they did.
Did they? Did
My
yours?
mom
Mine
had a
did not.
sailor's
My-
mouth.
Mine did not either, right?
But I think
And
that's just like a preference of the
I don't
parent.
think so. I think that it was much less prevalent back when we were kids versus now every parent I know swears in front of their kids a lot. And no, don't worry about it. They hear it all the time. That's the excuse I always get. But the problem is that it's not a problem. It's just that what's the point of censoring all these TV shows and stuff and making it so obvious that they're actually saying the word that they're actually saying when they say something like frickin' instead of fucking or whatever, when the parents are the ones swearing in front of them the next hour anyway. It doesn't really matter, right? Like, I feel like that's a generational thing that's not a thing anymore.
You're talking to a guy that I'm making a playlist for my daughter of music that we listen to together, and definitely has rap songs that like are definitely like kids shouldn't listen to. And I'm just like,
I've heard a lot
Because of the
these songs.
content
yeah,
and
like
the
it just-
lyrics or the
Oh,
language.
everything.
Some
All
of
of
the
it.
shit I'm
right?
just like, yeah, no way.
But like to me, it's like I just look at it as a musical like experience of like my
But-
parents really didn't shelter me from music. My mom bought me like over 18 like tapes and stuff, like when tapes were a thing. Like she bought me over 18 stuff. You know what I mean? So like I always listen to music. I don't think it made me any better or any worse. Like I don't think I cuss any more or less than based on the music I listen to. Or my views change. Like I don't like, you know what I mean? Or am I just making that up?
No, I mean, I doubt it, but
You're pretty much the same person I've always known you as.
Yeah. So my daughter listens to dirty rap music.
fuck it.
Hey, I'm a fan of it. Like
You're a fan of dirty rap music?
I'm a fan of like teaching your kids that like, look, there is language you use at a certain time at a certain age, and there's language that you don't use at a certain age, right? Like I'm an adult. We use this language. You can't say that until you're old enough to say that kind of thing, right? And I think as long as you're able to have those conversations.
Was that what your mom did
So
they ever slip up in front of you?
No.
You said because they said
So
they didn't
yeah,
cuss?
every once in a while they would say bad words, right? It wasn't this like taboo thing. It was one of those things. If I said something, they would be like, "Whoa, you can't say that," right? Then all of a sudden, I don't know what age it was. It was some arbitrary age, but there was some age that I hit, and they were just like didn't care anymore. I came home from school and
Hey,
then I was
Joe,
like, "Fuck," and they were
those-
like, they didn't say anything, and I go, "I guess I can say that now."
Hey,
guess that's
I
okay.
had the exact same experience.
Yeah,
What was your experience, Renee?
With cussing?
Yeah, like in that whole thing. The like,
Oh, my mom had the dirtiest mouth ever. But at the time, so I'm growing up in a really small town, and my parents were owning their own business, and they had a bakery. It was like a bakery / lunch-ish place. But I would spend all my days, all my nights there. And especially around holidays when orders would get really heavy and my parents would be really thin on sleep and patience, my mom cussed like a sailor. And it's just funny because now she says like shit. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm like, Mom.
Because of your kids? Like
I
around the
think
kids?
so. She's just mellowed out a lot as she's gotten older.
If it's just you and her, does she curse?
No. Like to hear her say fuck is really strange. But as a kid, I mean, it was.
What do you think? Like, what do you think changed? Like, I'm curious about what you think changed.
I think she got out of a really stressful job and didn't have kids at home anymore. And I don't know, like life got better for him.
Because my experience was different, right? It was just almost just the opposite, right? Like Joe, where like I didn't even know my parents curse, and then like I just came home one day and my mom was like, "Shit," and I was like, "What? Like what?
Oh,
like
yeah,
when did you
no,
start doing this?" You know what I mean? And so it was like really the polar opposite kind of. I just think that's interesting.
Yeah, now my mom really cusses when she gets drunk, which is always funny because then I know she's a lightweight, but she gets really giggly and then she starts cursing, and I just find it hilarious because before she just threw those words out like every other word. I'm just like, God, Mom, enough, you know?
Right.
And now I do it all the time. But I do try not to cuss in front of my kids.
How's
Even
that
though
go?
I do, if I do, I do it under my breath. And one of them will be like, Mom, you said a bad word. I'm like, we just don't repeat it.
Kids are the worst tattletales.
They are.
Like,
But you know, Jackson's cussed in front of me. My oldest.
He definitely
Like,
comes
was he
in front of
mad?
me.
He
but-
was. So-
Hey, Jackson, were you mad?
And listen, I couldn't be mad at him because he totally used it in context, and I would have said the same thing. My brother, who's bigger than me but younger in age, is he's very aggressive. Like as kids, we would get in very bloody, knock him out, put holes in our sheetrock fights.
What?
Mm-hmm. Is it called latchkey kids, where your parents just leave you at home all day, all night? So my parents didn't have typical 9 to 5 Monday through Friday jobs. And so growing up, my brother and I were always home alone. We'd wake up to a list posted on the microwave of all the shit we needed to get done before my parents got home. I'd feed everybody, us too. And we would ride our bikes to the public pool and they'd leave us money and whatnot. But my brother is still very, like, he gets into it like a little intensely. And so when my oldest son thinks he's Billy Badass and he'll start mouthing off to my brother already knows he's going to take him down aggressively. But Jackson doesn't understand the strength of my brother. So when they get into it playingly, it very quickly turns into like, oh, I'm pissed now because we were playing and now we're fighting. And my brother always wins. So one night they were getting rowdy with each other and I don't know what happened. Oh, my brother slapped him on the ass so hard that Jackson almost started crying. He was like, fuck, that hurt. And we're all right there. And we're talking, like, we're not really paying attention to him. And it happens. And Jackson screams and he drops the F-bomb. And we all kind of look at each other. And I was like, I'm not really mad at him for saying that. Like, I should be because he said fuck in front of me. And he's probably like 12 or 13 at the time. But it was rightly used. And I would have said the same thing too. So I kind of like hid my face and laughed a little. And I was like, honey, don't use that language. But he will. And he doesn't do it intentionally. Like he'll want to say something. Like he'll come home from school or practice and he'll be like, I'm so pissed. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm so upset. I'm like, it's fine. Because I know he cusses with all his buddies. I mean, they all do.
You know how it was.
Yeah.
Like you
love saying bad words with your buddies.
I distinctly remember having a switch.
Yeah.
That I could like turn, as soon as I got home, I could turn it off.
Yep.
And not cuss. And then go back to school and then turn it back on. And then, like I said, at some arbitrary age, that switch stopped. It just stopped happening. And now it's hard because sometimes I'll like go around like my nieces or my little cousins or whatever when I go home and I don't have the switch to turn it off anymore. And I think it's because I didn't have, I don't have my own kids.
Yeah.
And so I don't have that switch. I haven't developed it again or whatever.
Well, you kind of have a dirty mouth too.
But hang on. I'm going to take this one step further. So you waited tables, right?
Yeah.
You waited tables.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're waiting tables, you have to turn that switch off and on because you go in the kitchen and you're like, hey, motherfuckers, are y'all going to get this chicken fried steak out or not? Right? And you have to go out to the table and go, ma'am, it's just going to be a few more minutes. They're just a little bit behind. Yeah, can I get you any free bread or, any other, how can, you know what I mean? And so like, once you kind of quit that job, like what happened with me is I just kind of, that whole filter of a thing just kind of fell off. And then once I got older, I was just like, man, fuck it. Like, I'm not trying that hard. You know what I mean? Like this is, I don't think I'm a bad person because I curse. I just think I curse a lot. Could I be better about it? Sure. And I try all the time, but I mean, like nobody's gonna be perfect.
Yeah, but I mean, some people have a job where you can't, as I do, being an elementary teacher.
Yeah, I mean, cursing for you would not be good,
No.
but you probably can still turn that off and on, right?
I mean, you have to, but shit, there's days where I just want to.
Well, my job
Yell at
currently
That feels like it's back to Joe's kind of theory. Weren't you saying earlier that you just think that it's kind of more accepted?
I think that I don't know if it's because I think it's more accepted or if it's because now I'm an adult and it's such a part of my vocabulary in my life and my friends' vocabulary now that I don't see it as such a big deal. But or maybe I just when it's kind of one of those things. Sometimes when you're like a kid, you have a very selective memory or a very selective attention, right? Where you're like, okay, like all the things that you thought you saw when you were a kid growing up, like all the bad stuff that happened with your family or your cousins or your aunts and uncles and your sisters, your parents or whatever, you're like, oh, I remember that, but I remember not paying attention because I was busy with my video game. And then when you get older and your parents tell you the stories about some stuff that you go, I remember that. And it's like some shady shit that went down and you go, no, that was real. I remember that happening. But you didn't remember it until they told you that they kind of reaffirmed that memory was actually a real thing, right?
Right.
So I wonder if that's kind of what it is. Like maybe my parents did swear more than I thought, but I just kind of like, oh, that's just they're my parents. They can do whatever they want. They're my parents, right? So I never really thought I can't get them in trouble. They're my parents. And so maybe you just don't remember that as much as I think that you would. And then you get to a certain age where you become that person and you're so used to hearing it that when someone swears around their kids and they go, no, don't worry about it. They hear it all the time. Maybe my parents did that to me and I just don't have that memory. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I would. But
Well,
I don't know.
there does come an age where, and we call them the sponge, but your kids become a sponge. And even though they're not right there with you, they're still somewhere within earshot and they're listening to everything you say. So when you're thinking it's just you and adults sitting around talking about whatever you're talking about, using the language you want to use, you're like, oh, it's fine, my kids aren't around, but they still hear you. So I think in a sense they know that it is adult talk and they still love hearing it, but they know they can't say it.
Yeah, you know how awesome it is to like have your mom buy you like tapes or like 18 and up, and they're just like, it's like the Beastie Boys or whatever, like it's like fuck this, fuck, and I'm just like with my headphones like outside, just like fuck, you know, just like,
dude.
You know what I mean? And like, and then you go back inside, you're like, hey mom, I wasn't just cursing for the last hour.
Well, and it's funny because Jackson outwardly admits, he'll be like, well, yeah, I mean, in the locker room with my buddies, we cuss all the time because he doesn't believe. So my middle son's in middle school. He's 11 in 6th grade, and he's very different from my other two. And he's just not that type of kid. He's like, I've never said a bad word. And Jackson cannot let it go that he's never said a bad word. He's like, yeah, you do. When you're at school, I mean, I remember in 5th grade, I said my first bad word with my friends. And Reed's like, I just don't say bad words. It's just not in his...
It's really, I don't...
In his vernacular,
Reed,
I guess.
I 100% believe
No,
that.
I do too. Yeah. And even if he did say some bad words in front of his buddies, it would be like, shut up, or you suck.
He would feel so bad about it.
He would.
Yeah, he would tell you immediately.
Yeah. And so he's like, I've never said a bad word. And Jackson's like, yes, you have. And I'm like, Jackson, not everybody is like you. Like...
Not everybody's a troublemaker, Jackson.
Step out of your bubble. There's other people that exist here.
So,
because my oldest son has a very big potty mouth when he's not around us, which I absolutely know.
I believe it.
And thankfully, he doesn't do it around us. So I was his age one time too.
Don't do it around your girlfriend's parents either. Then just let you know. And don't do it around anybody that knows your girlfriend's
also,
parents
Jackson,
or knows your parents.
Jackson, don't do it around me and Scott when you're with just us either, because I don't want to have to lie to your parents when they ask.
Or he just like have to edit all this shit out. Hey, so really quick.
You know, he really wanted to be here, so he probably would have been cussing on the podcast or something.
No, he can't cuss on. We can cuss on the podcast. He can't cuss.
We're adults. He's not.
I know.
So,
he thinks he is though. Big boy.
Well, hey, you know what? That means you're raising a good son, Renee. The fact that he wants to be an adult is great. Like you don't want to be like, hey,
listen,
mom, I'm gonna stay here forever.
I may be razzing him, but he really is.
He's a
nearly
fantastic,
perfect.
Yeah,
I couldn't ask for anything
you're
better.
You're a really good kid. Don't be embarrassed to show this to all your friends.
He's very respectful. He is outgoing. He has the best manners. I could not tell you how many people that meet him just think the world of him. I mean, he is his father's son in so many ways that, I mean, he may look like me, but he is Jared. Through and through. It is his personality.
Is that where you guys dance moves?
I'm not even going to talk about it. Not even gonna bring it up. I know that my experience with Jackson is very much what you're saying. Exactly. He's a very good kid. And I think that it comes from the relationship that you and Jared have with him, and this very open communication type relationship of like, because he's
awkwardly open, but yes.
Well, awkwardly open only for no good reason other than it's not the norm, right?
Yeah.
But it should absolutely be the norm, because there are things that he talks about with you guys on a regular basis that there is no way in hell I would have ever said to my parents ever, because there's just that stigma of like, of I didn't want them to 100% know about my personal life, whereas he don't really give a shit.
Yeah,
he's like, no, I'll just tell you exactly what's going on. Like the things that have been shared between you two are very important things to be shared, and there are ways that, and the good thing about it is that he's never alone in anything. Like there's a lot of kids that go through things alone because they're afraid to talk to their parents about it, or that maybe they're even afraid to talk to their friends about it because it's too embarrassing to talk to their friends about, but they don't want to get in trouble or be embarrassed by their parents. Whereas you've never given him that feeling of like, hey, you're going to be embarrassed if you tell us some shit. And because of that, because of how you and Jared talk to him and hang out with him and expose him to things, that doesn't exist. And because of that, he's able to talk to you about pretty much anything, which is like, you said it's awkward, but it's also the best way to do it.
Well, it's awkward because that's not how I grew up.
Right.
I wish it was how I grew up. I wish I had that relationship with my parents, but there's still so many things my parents don't know about me.
Right.
That they never will. And my mom and dad will even say, those are things we don't want to know about. And I want to know everything. I mean, I don't want to know everything. Let me retract my statement there. I just need to know that he is always comfortable in the decisions he makes, and he feels confident in the person who he is. And that if he doesn't, he can come to us and either ask or share or, give us those concerns. Whether I can give him proper advice or not, I hope that we've built a relationship with all of our boys that they know that we are non-judgmental. I mean, we are still parents. We can't be their best friends, but we want them to know that if they have anything they're worried about, that they can come to us without us passing judgment on them,
I obviously don't. This is what's most impressive to me. This is where I would give y'all like the biggest kudos. And it's something I'll never have to deal with because I'm only having one kid, right?
One and done.
One and done. I am a college basketball player. Is that, you correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like all three of your kids are kind of different. Like they're all different than each other.
Absolutely.
Like,
completely different.
There's no kind of like, either there's not enough or something, there's enough distance that they're all very different.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to say, like you treat them the same, but it's not the same. Does that make sense? Like
right.
It's the attention that they need, the kind of attention that they need, that each individual one of them needs. And it might not look the same, but that's what's equal about it, is that it's what they need, not just like, oh, it has to be fair. Right? You know what I mean?
Right. Well,
what you got, Joe? Okay.
You're right. They are not the same in any sense of the way. Yeah, and it's hard when you have your first kid like Jackson be, and if he hears this, it's going to go to his head, almost perfect, right? Like he was a really.
You ain't that perfect. Don't let her.
But in a lot of he was a great
You were awkward
baby.
getting that haircut that we went to. Yeah, so
that's a choice. But as a personality and just as a person in general, as a human, we couldn't really ask for anything better. Like he has his typical, I mean, he's 15. He's a typical 15-year-old, but we're not fighting with him about doing really stupid things outside the norm of being 15. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, he's a good student. He does
he's very responsible. Sure, we get after him about doing his chores every fucking day. But if that's the least of my concerns, is he's not taking the trash out when we ask him, how can I complain, because I don't have to worry about what he's doing. He's already got a job and he's already, college isn't such a big deal yet, even though he's a sophomore, but maybe he's one that doesn't go to college. I don't know. And we're not pressuring that. A lot of our friends who have kids the same age are like, well, what college is he thinking about? And I was like, well, we really haven't talked about it yet, but it's just not on his radar. And why am I going to pressure him to worry about that right now? If maybe it's trade school or maybe, I don't know, whatever it is for him. I can't make him do.
Do you know how much a plumber makes per hour?
Way more than I do.
Right. Do you know how much an electrician makes?
More than I do.
Yeah. Probably they make double of what I do.
Yeah. No, I know.
So
trade
it's
school, way to go.
Guess what? Hey, guess what we're always going to need? We're always going to need plumbers.
Yes.
We're always going to need electricians. Like if someone had told me in high school that like you could make like $100 and something an hour just being a plumber, and you don't have to deal with like toilets and stuff. Like there are plumbers that specifically do not deal with like shit. They're like, we just do all the other plumbing except for toilets, right?
Yeah.
And they get paid like $120 to $140 an hour.
Well, electricians the same too. And they didn't go to college, it was trade school.
Yeah.
Good for them.
All I'm saying is if somebody would have told me that.
Look at what my 4-year degree got me.
Look at my 4-year degree got me.
I'm still paying off student loans.
I'm in my garage talking to people with microphones.
Making barely $60,000 a year as a goddamn school teacher.
Scott, how'd that graphic design degree go for you?
Well.
Wait, do we have the same degree?
Mm-hmm. We went to school together, Renee.
Yes, Scott, I know this.
You have a graphic design degree?
With the same degree.
What is your actual degree?
ComDes.
Okay, mine too.
Yeah.
What is that?
Communication design.
Communication design.
It's a bachelor in fine arts in communication design.
Communication design.
Mm-hmm.
Communications is that degree that all the athletes get because it's the easiest one?
No, it's not communication. It's communication design.
Interesting.
It's like advertisement.
It's communicating shit through design.
Okay. I don't know why I'm talking shit. I didn't go to college at all. I have 0 degrees. So, yeah. But
you're doing fine.
Don't need one for my job.
Yeah. Being a fantastic photographer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Imagine when I got into school and got a photography degree. Like, would that really do me any better than I am right now?
No. Except you're paying off school debt.
Oh, I went to digital art school for a year.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Online?
No, it was like a full-on 4-year degree for sound arts, actually. I was going for sound recording. Become a sound engineer. Learning like video game sound. And I know, it's kind of full circle, right? Had to become a firefighter in order to come back and do this shit all over again.
So tell me if you want to step into this or not. Okay, it's not that scary.
Okay.
Did your parents drink?
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents drink, Joe?
Not really. I mean, like my dad. I remember my dad having like Coors Light was his beer, but it wasn't like he came home and drank a case every night or whatever. It was like he had like a 6-pack and it lasted.
Did you experience your parents being drunk? Do you remember your parents being drunk?
As a kid, no, but drinking was like as a kid, I drank. Like they would serve us wine coolers, like homemade wine. Okay. That sounds really awful.
It's not awful.
Let me set the stage here.
It's really awful because you're in the US.
Set the stage because it's like 1980 something.
Okay,
right? Like it's a different time. You don't have to justify.
Let's go mid 80s.
Well, we didn't.
Fair.
Wherever we didn't ride around with seatbelts. People threw us in the back of trucks. Like it was a different time. Like there's no reason.
Yeah, absolutely. We road tripped up to South Dakota in the bed of my dad's truck with a camper on top.
Yeah, we got beer and whiskey all the time from our parents.
Well, so my dad is Italian, and when it was pasta night, we were not allowed to drink milk because he was just like, you don't drink milk with spaghetti. I mean, I didn't know any different. So instead of milk, my mom would make us a wine cooler with red wine and orange soda. And on fancy days, she would actually use one of those spoon tricks where the two would level out. So like it was like half orange, half wine or whatever. And that's what we would get to drink on spaghetti. And spaghetti night was at least once a week.
Hey, you want me to tell you what I think was really going on? So all these kids are going to have all these carbs, right? And then you're going to top it off with a little like booze.
Oh, and they go to bed right away.
Mm-hmm. And spaghetti night becomes something totally different.
Spaghetti night becomes spaghetti night.
Spaghetti night.
You just really fucked up my whole childhood. Thank you, Scott.
Hey, I'm sorry, Renee's mom. I'm sorry that I made that assumption. I'm sorry.
Some spaghetti and the meatballs. You
Whoa.
know what I'm saying?
Oh my, I'm going meatball deep here. But that's how it was with my family. So drinking always. And when we would get with family, lots of drinking. But it was never like no one ever got in fights. There was never arguing. There was no violence. It was just imagine. Imagine The Sopranos.
You were
minus
Italian.
the murdering.
Yeah, you were Italian.
That was our family, especially when we all got together. So for us to drink or to taste or to sit at we would have to sit at the table for hours. Because all the adults would sit around the table and they would talk and all the kids would be stuck at the table.
Domino? Did they play games? No,
just talking.
That's a very Italian thing.
Just talking. That's it. And we could not leave the table.
Because they had to keep an eye on you.
I don't know why. Because it was respect. Because we couldn't leave the table. Because the elders and everybody were there. Hours. I mean, we had to be properly dressed. We had to have the music on. The lights were dimmed. It was a whole thing. And now as a parent,
it's a different experience as a parent.
If I can get all my kids to at least be at the table together, they can be in their underwear. I don't give a shit. But we're going to have dinner together.
In their underwear a lot.
They are. That's a dad thing.
What?
They are, dude. Every time we're over there, like we'll go to stay over the weekend or for a party or whatever.
Can we avoid this subject?
I'm saying we wake up this morning. Like I mean, like I'm used to like babies running around in their underwear, but your kids are in their underwear a lot. Like,
yeah, they are.
It's just what it is. They are.
It's a Jared thing.
Ain't nothing wrong with it. I mean, Jared's in his underwear half the time.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
It's a thing in our house. It's fine. Listen,
there's nothing wrong with it. It's just
I'm
different.
one of 5, and I'm the only girl.
Yeah. So
seeing kids in underwear, husbands in underwear.
So I have a client, and she has the same numbers, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a very similar. You are very similar. There's a very similar, in a good way, right? Like you kind of have to. If you're living with 4 guys, you got to be tough. You know what I mean? You have to have a level of tough because there's gonna be a lot of fart jokes. There's gonna be a lot of like dirty, gross stuff, guy stuff.
There's just a lot of pee.
Yeah, there's a lot of pee.
There's a lot of pee.
So
a lot of pee.
I have a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you, as you grew up and as you went through college and all that, I didn't know you through that time, obviously, right?
Because you weren't born yet, but yeah.
Jesus.
I didn't say anything.
Like you're 30 years older than me or some shit. All right.
Close.
I met you in Vegas 6-7 years ago, something like that.
2016, because that was y'all's
right
engagement thing.
6 years ago.
Okay.
Right.
Awesome. Hey, that was an awesome time.
One of my most favorite Vegas trips ever.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Anyway. That was my first real trip to Vegas.
Oh, it was good.
Like
a good one.
first real one. Like I've been a few times. We didn't really do much, but like that was my first.
So
real one.
I will say this. Let me just say this real quick. That was the first time I went to Vegas, and I feel like I went to Vegas.
Yeah.
Right. And it cost Vegas kind of money, but it was 100% worth it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when we went to that pool party and that lady brought back that check, and I was like, holy shit, my bill is $1,800.
Yeah.
And I was like,
fuck it.
I was like, well, when in Rome.
Yeah.
And it's such a great story. And we had such a great time. And if I would have spent the time kind of worrying about it, it would have made it suck. But I was just like, hey, fuck it. Like, we're already here. Like,
and Jay also, Jay went on that trip and helped us out. And
another friend of ours that's really gracious to us all the time.
Jay is the best.
Yeah.
He helped us out a lot. He has a lot of connections in Vegas and all that. But at the same time, it was like, I mean, I remember going. We had the cabana, right? So we had bottle service, which went out in 30 minutes. Like the bottle was gone because they give you a normal size bottle for $400 or whatever it is. And then they were like, well, you can get another bottle if you want. And I'm like, cool, just get another bottle. And I just bought one. And they brought me the check where I was like,
thanks, Joe.
I'm like, whoa.
Whoopsie.
Well, this is my contribution for the day.
Yeah.
We'll just say that. You know what I mean? But it like you said, it was well worth the money. Well worth there wasn't really, I wouldn't say chaos, but it was sort of chaotic because there were just so many of us trying to find where we're going and getting how are we going to get
to where we're going. It's hard when it's a group that big, though.
It is, but it was
Jerry's
also
birthday.
not
But Jerry's
that
birthday
hard.
was the same way. But Jerry's birthday was a really great time
Yeah, it was fun
I
too.
agree.
for most people there.
Hey.
I had a great time.
I had a great time.
I really
wonderful
did
time.
too. I had the best time I could.
It was amazing.
I had the best time that a person possibly could.
I remember getting there Was it which was the trip where I got there the day after? No, it was your trip because y'all. I remember because you guys got there like the night before, but your flight got delayed, and you didn't get in until super early in the morning or whatever.
Yeah,
Oh, no,
I went and worked
super
out with you.
late.
Well, we went and worked out, but like before that, I went and got a massage because I got there before everybody. Everybody was like sleeping, so I got there early in the morning or whatever, and I went and got a massage. Then we went to the gym, and I was like, "This is a great way to start Vegas." Like everybody was all kind of stressed because they had to fly all night and all that. But anyways, my original question, I guess, from Vegas was, I met you in Vegas that first trip. My question is like, you strike me as the kind of person who has always had kind of more male influence in your life. You have a lot of guy friends, right? So I feel like that sort of, I know you wanted a girl, but that sort of prepped you for living with a bunch of guys in a way, right? Like,
I would say based on what you said, your brother prepped you for having boys.
I feel now with the boys being as old as they are, I was not meant to have a girl. And I know how awful I was as a daughter for a few years. And my mom will even talk about it. She's like, there was a couple years I really hated you, but I still loved you, but I hated you.
I think that's totally normal though.
But I know what I did and how I acted. But
that was female, not female, male. Does that make sense? I think it makes a difference.
I think now, as much as I thought I wanted a girl, I didn't need to have one. And I wasn't meant to, obviously. I mean, we tried 3 times and I got all boys. And if we tried again, it would still be another boy.
Then you'd be really stuck.
But you know that's Jared's fault, right? Because it's the male DNA that controls the sex of the baby.
He did it on purpose.
He's the one that wanted a girl more than me.
He aimed you west instead of east, you know.
But hey, you know what? In a similar vein, let me ask, do you think that, I think Jared was meant to have boys in this weird kind of way. I don't think he was meant to have a girl, maybe.
Yeah, I
think. What do you think?
I think y'all would. I mean,
I think y'all would have been fine.
I think
but
y'all
I'm saying, like,
just fine.
We would have survived. Yes.
I think y'all would have raised good kids no matter what they were.
I just think my life is a lot, as stressful as it can be. I think it's a lot less stressful than if I had a daughter.
Yes.
So, and just speaking from a female perspective, like there's so many other issues having a daughter than having a son raising, right? Like, I don't know. I just feel like there's a whole nother spectrum of issues and concerns when it comes to raising a girl than a boy.
So, tell me if this approach speaks to you, because this is what I do. And I think that this is like, when it's the opposite sex, there's this way of, you're not a guy.
I am not. No.
Right?
Nope.
We've already established that in the beginning.
No.
Yeah.
Fully female. Thank you.
Anyways, and so it's like with your boys, you're just constantly learning. You're just constantly learning, right?
Yeah.
So like there's no this expectation of they have to be a certain thing because they're not the same sex as you. If you like have a daughter, there's expectation that she has to be you, or you already know how to be a woman. Let me show you how to be a woman.
Right? I think, yeah.
And so
I have no idea what it's like to be a boy.
Right. So when I have no idea what it's like to be a girl. So like in having a daughter, I'm just constantly learning. I'm just constantly learning and watching her and going like, oh, why is she doing this? And like the interaction between her and Aaron and just learning.
Yeah.
And I think that's way easier than like, you know, like Jared has 3 boys he has to relate to. And somehow like he's the representative of the boys.
But
like,
his situation is also different because Jared is a single child. So he doesn't know what it's like to have siblings, where he is in a household of 3 brothers.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It can be hard for him sometimes to understand the dynamic. Where I grew up with a sibling, even though it wasn't a same-sex sibling, I still knew what it was like to share, you know, your life with somebody for a good 16, 17, 18 years before you move out of the house, go to college or whatnot. But Jared never had that experience. So I will see moments where he can't relate to the issues because he doesn't know what it's like to be fighting with a brother because he never had one.
Yeah.
And that's to no fault of his own.
No.
But yes, does
he trust your judgment in those situations?
I would hope so. I mean, we don't really talk about it, but there are moments where I don't understand our boys, and I'll have to tag him in and say, I need you to jump in here because this is out of my realm
but I think that's so smart. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's so smart to go like, hey, I don't know how to do this. I think you're way better at this. Why don't you jump in there and do that?
Yeah.
Instead of being like kind of an ego proud about it, you go like, hey, this is where I suck.
Oh no, I'm the white flag all the time. I'm like, help me. But I don't know what I'm doing.
But you know what I'm saying? But like,
Yeah.
I think that's, I mean, and I'm sure at those moments he jumps in and like, he helps, right?
Yeah.
Or, yeah.
I mean, it comes to moments like, hey, I'm tapping out. There's nothing more I can do. I don't know what to do. This is beyond my scope of expertise.
Yeah.
I need you to do something now.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, whatever it is. But yeah, I have no problem with saying, I'm gonna tag you in on this one because
I just think it's real easy for parents to feel like that they have failed when they need to tap their partner in if they're not good at something.
I fail every day at being a parent. I'm gonna say that louder for the people in the back. I fail every day as a parent.
But
I do. And it's
But
fine.
you also succeed every day as a parent.
I mean, do I? I don't know. I don't feel like
well,
it.
I think
but
Nobody
your
ever
kids
feels like they succeed at anything. But
your
do.
kids are proof positive that you're succeeding at being a parent. So if you feel like you're failing, it must be because either you're obviously doing something right, but you're maybe pushing some sort of limit or trying to really be like you're involved, you're engaged. It means something to you, so you feel it. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, I mean, I definitely have empathy. Like that's something I share with my middle son. He is very empathetic to the point that it causes issues for him, but I don't have as much empathy as he does, but I definitely understand where he comes from because when people feel hurt or upset or broken, like I feel that with them too. So when I see my kids upset and I can't fix it, it's really bothersome because I'm like, I don't know how to help you and I want to. You don't want to see, especially your own kids, you don't want to see them in pain or upset or devastated or, whatever it is.
So
but there's lots of times where I don't know how to help that because I'm not as emotional as they can be. And so sometimes they reach a point that it's out of my realm of emotions, I guess, to say that I'm like, I don't know what to do.
Well,
Your middle son is like a full-on empath.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
Like painfully so.
Yep.
Yeah,
and it causes lots of problems.
Yeah.
Not to his and not to his own fault. It's just
No, it's just how he's wired.
But do you know, like I always tell like I'm pretty empathic. I know people that are way more empathic than me. And I always tell them like, hey, it's kind of like a superpower. Like you have this ability to feel these things that people can feel that other people can't feel. But you have to also understand when you take that on, you take on that emotion, that's hard for you. So you have to boundary that out.
Right.
And only handle it when you can handle it. And you have to manage that superpower. It's yours to kind of manage. And it's really hard. It's hard for people to do that because you care so much. You feel so much that you're just like, oh my God, I want to help. And
it's hard to walk away from it knowing it's not resolved.
It draws you in. I mean, and so, but no one can really tell you what you can handle. You have to draw those lines,
right.
I think that's really hard for people because it feels very like,
especially
I'm being
when you're
dick.
Young, you don't know.
Oh yeah.
Because all you do is feel bad. You're like, I feel
or, or if something about your childhood shaped that, you know what I mean? And so like, you have to kind of fight against those kinds of things too,
Well, and so I worry that I've done something that makes my middle son feel that when he is so empathetic that it's a fault and not necessary. It's a negative, not a positive. And I don't know if I have. I feel that way because here's me being empathetic to him feeling bad for somebody else, and then I don't know how to resolve that issue with them. So it's like this domino effect with one feeling bad for feeling bad for feeling bad. And then, you know what I mean? Like, it's this vicious cycle because I don't know how to vocalize what's the word I'm trying to say? Like, I don't know how to vocalize to him that it's okay to feel that way, but not feel guilty about it necessarily. Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because I'm the same way. Like, I feel bad for him feeling bad, but like sometimes you just got to feel those emotions too. and then move on.
So hang on. My girlfriend is an incredible empath, and she feels things at a very level that it's just like it speaks so much to me because I can tell she really feels it. And I kind of just said to her, I was like, it's hard, like, you get so just spread out by just feeling all the feelings for all the people, right? So what if we could just take that and kind of refocus it to the people that we actually can affect and help, that we feel empathetic about, and focus on them and try not to focus too broad, because Renee. The broadness, it just stretches you too thin. Right. So like what can you affect and what can you change? How do you balance that? Like, how do you manage that? You know what I mean? Like, I love talking to your middle son. I love talking.
Oh, people do, because he's
fascinating, because he's interesting. He's not
such
boring.
a deep thinker.
And he's not boring.
And he's so out of the box, which is why that's what I love most about him, is he's so untraditional.
Well, that speaks to the creative part of you.
Oh, yes. And of all three, he is, well, they're all very creative. Jackson doesn't care about it, even though he is. Reed definitely dwells on his creativity, and Sawyer knows he is and likes to be creative, but he's math. Like his thing is, his obsession is numbers. So like they all have their thing, and they all do have the creative gene, but Reed is definitely the one that hones in on it. For whatever reason, his personality type. And he's very much introverted like I am. I am introverted of the purest definition.
Yes.
That is me. I fit that bubble very easily.
I'm sure there are people listening right now that are like, well, she doesn't sound very introverted. But
that's because I'm around people I'm comfortable with.
Well, and also I think that you have really worked hard to try to expand out of that. Well, you understand, I've known you for a really long time.
Yes.
So like, I know, like when we were in college, stuff like that too. Like, and I think that you talk about more real stuff with me now than maybe back in the day. And it could be for other reasons. But like, I just feel like that, like you're really more open to talking about things now. Maybe it's just being older or whatever.
Well, and we have a relationship now. I just can't meet somebody and have small talk. Like small talk to me is like vomit.
Well,
like
that's being introverted. That's part of being introverted.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
So when I have to meet new people, or like when Jared tells me, hey, we have to go to this event for work, and I'm just like, please tell me there's alcohol. So if I can drink a little, I'm okay, right? But for me, just to have to meet all these random people in one night and then have to have the same conversation with them over and over again, because it's meeting it's always the same question. Hi, what do you do? How did you, it's always the same, list of questions that new people ask you when they're extroverted, right? Because they want to get to know you. And I don't fault them for it, but I don't have the energy in me to just share all that personal information with somebody I know I'm never going to see again. It's just not in me to invest energy and time to something that's going to last 5 minutes.
And I think that's okay. I think it's totally...
Well, and it wasn't at first. I really struggled with that in college.
Well, because everybody told you it wasn't okay.
Exactly. Everybody told me it was not okay.
Right.
And I had a problem, and I needed to get over myself, and I needed to stop being the way I was. And that was a big struggle for a long time.
Did people, when we were in college, did they view it as stuck up? Did you get like, hey, I'm...
I don't know, but
not saying I thought that, but I'm saying like I could see how people would be like, because you were just not.
I'm not super outgoing. No.
At that time, I mean, like I would say now for me, I think you're different personally, but I'm just saying, like at that time you were definitely not outgoing.
And it was because I would be in situations socially that I didn't know a lot of people. Yeah. I'm just not comfortable in large groups of people I don't know. Now get me in a small group of people I love, and I'm chatty Cathy, and I will talk your ear off, and I will ask a million questions, and I will find out things about you that other people don't know, and I retain that information. And that's a problem. It's because what you share with me, I retain that information. So it becomes part of me that I will never forget.
You have you're in the inner circle. You're in the.
I am.
Yeah.
And when you talk to me, I listen. So it's a lot of energy spent on focusing on a person. Whereas, I feel like extroverts, they need that interaction to kind of charge their battery. Whereas I need, when I'm depleted, I need to be in a quiet, calm setting where there's not people and I don't have to be social, because it's so taxing on me to really, one, to share who I am with you, and then to get to know who you are. Because if I've invested my time with you, it's exhausting, and not in a bad way.
Hey, don't waste my time.
No, but you know what I mean?
No,
like,
I know what you mean. Yeah. I know what you mean.
I am through and through an introvert, and for the longest time, I hated that about me, and I really thought it was a fault, and it was my least favorite thing. But as I've gotten older, like, it is who I am, and I fully embrace it. And listen, I either like you or I don't, and there is really no in between with me. And that's just how I am. Like, I'm too old to give a shit at this point.
Right. Hey, okay, so that leads me. That leads me to this perfect.
I love the fact though that I feel. Correct me if I'm wrong, and you probably won't because we're on camera and shit.
Oh, I will.
I feel like me and Scott, when we come over, there's a difference. Like, sometimes there's a different vibe. There could be a bunch of people over, and then me and Scott come over. And I've seen it on
cool.
you. No, I'm just saying. I'm not trying to toot I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that when we show up,
I'll toot your horn, Joe.
I feel like you almost give this like, and you kind of like your shoulders roll back, and you're like, cool, my people are here. Let's do some tequila shots. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. And I have, well, I don't want to say a lot. In my mind, it's a lot, because I don't have this huge network of social friends. I don't. Which is why I don't have a lot of girlfriends, because it's hard for me to connect with other women who, I don't know. I've been
that social aspect of being a girl kind of thing. Yeah,
right. Because I just can't be out and about and make all new friends and 10 new friends in a night. And it's just like the cattiness. And I am not saying all women, this is going to get me in trouble here, but I'm not saying all women are like that, but it's hard for me to find my type of girl. So the few girlfriends that I have, I don't live close to them anymore. So I don't have an inner circle, or the ones I do, they're guys. I don't know what it is, but I am more comfortable being around
I don't
a group of guys than I am girls.
I think it's on one level it's self-explanatory. I think just having your brother and probably the relationship you had, it probably
possibly
pushes a lot.
I didn't have a sister, yeah.
But the other thing of it is like it doesn't really matter. Like, if that's kind of like your group of people and they just happen to all be guys.
Yeah.
They're all just humans like everybody else. So they just happen to be guys.
Yeah. I mean, and it really, but I can think back in high school, and it's always been guys. And it was never like a sexual thing. It was never I was attracted to them. It was just always like a big group of brothers.
Can I tell you what I like when like we kind of like first met, and like how we, so kind of a backstory, kind of how we met is like, were you part of our fraternity?
The White Roses.
Right. Yeah. Or whatever. Mm-hmm. Like, that's how you kind of got into that, right?
Well, I was dating Jared.
Is that how that started?
No, I was living with 3 of his fraternity brothers.
Yeah, but like, you were a White Rose. Like,
no. So
you got into it after Jared? Or after
Jared. So when I moved to San Marcos, it was kind of towards the very beginning of the start of the semester, and I had nowhere to live. I just packed up my shit, and my dad and I and a buddy drove me to San Marcos, and I needed an apartment. So the Aquaruna Springs, right there by Tortugas, mm-hmm. was the only place in town at the time that did individual leases for like a 4, 3, or 2-bedroom apartment.
And you got stuck with those fuckers?
Mm-hmm. Kevin, Will, and Matt. They were the only ones that needed a 4th roommate to complete. Not that they needed to complete their lease, but they're the only ones that had an open bedroom.
Whoa. Okay. Now, okay.
Oh, you didn't know this?
I didn't know that's how that went down.
That's how it started.
Okay, so.
I randomly moved in with 3 guys.
Did you interview them? Did you like
nope.
meet? you just like, and your parents were cool. They just dropped you off.
My dad was not. My dad's the one that drove down with me, and I said, "Hey, Dad, listen, this is my situation."
Did you meet any of them with your dad?
Yes.
Who'd you meet?
I feel like they were all there, or at least two of them.
So your dad met Jared?
I know Kevin. No, Jared didn't live there.
He just hung out there?
Not yet. I didn't know Jared yet.
Okay. Oh, because it was that 3 other guys.
It was Kevin Hirschfield.
Yeah.
Will Graber. And Matt Goodsell.
Yeah, none of these people you'll know, but that they're
all fraternity brothers of yours.
Yeah, all yeah.
So it's a 4-bedroom.
Okay, anyway,
they were the 3 roommates.
Okay.
They needed to fill one more bedroom.
Okay, okay.
Okay, so then I move in with them 3,
Mm-hmm.
and my dad moves me in, and I can vividly remember he's putting all my shit in my bedroom, and he's like closing the door and locking it, making sure like the lock works, and making sure the bathroom door locks and the lock works, and he's like. This is what he does at the end. He unloads all my shit. And I'm like, "Hi, Dad." And he's like, "Listen, I am not comfortable with this, but I know I raised you well enough to handle yourself. So I'm going to trust you."
Hey, let me tell you something.
And I was like, "Thanks, Dad. Love you. Bye."
Hey, while you were getting ready to set all that up, I was thinking like about me and doing that with her. And like, I was like, the answer is, did I teach you the things that you need to know to be in a situation like this? Did I prepare you for this? And it's really cool that he said that to he like, yeah, I wouldn't be cool with it either.
Yeah.
But if I did my job, then she'll handle herself.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what I mean? And like, I think that's really cool that your dad did that.
So he left me there. Obviously, I survived. And then Jared, that same semester, Jared had moved from Austin to San Marcos, and he started pledging the fraternity, and his big brother was one of my roommates. So Kevin always had Jared over to do, scrub toilets, do dishes, laundry, whatever.
Fraternity stuff.
Non-hazing things. So
he wanted to scrub those toilets. I didn't make nobody scrub no toilet.
Oh, those toilets
everybody was like, "Hey, can I scrub your toilet?" I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you want your laundry done? Yeah, man. If you're gonna, yeah.
If you're on your way, might as well bring mine.
Yeah, please.
So he would be over all the time doing that stuff. And we met, and here's the funny story. I actually had a really big crush on Tyson Plummer.
No, you died. Sorry.
Me and everybody else, right?
Oh my God. I almost said that out loud. I'm sorry, Tyson. Hey, I mean, everything worked out for everything worked out for a reason. So don't even
nothing
sweat.
ever happened. But I had the biggest crush on him. And he would always be over too, because him and Jared were pledge brothers.
Right.
And I don't remember who his older brother was in the fraternity. But I don't think it was one of my roommates. Needless to say, he was around all the time too. But we would hang out, and Jared was dating people. I really wasn't, but we were friends. And we happened to have the same school schedule where we had like a weird break in the middle of our day. So every Tuesday, we would go have lunch together and just shoot the shit. He'd talk about his girlfriend problems, and we would just talk. And then every Tuesday, we'd go try somewhere new in town in San Marcos. And then he ended up moving out. Was it Quail Creek, the one way out there by the outlet mall? Remember that house?
Mm-hmm.
And that was with Tyson and Caperton and Brian Hughes. Did they all live out there together?
There's a bunch of those knuckleheads out there. Yeah.
So they all moved out there. And I think at that point, we started becoming more than just friends. We were friends with things, but it was never... You know what I mean?
Hi, Jackson.
Yeah.
Would that term exist back then?
Friends with things?
Friends with benefits? Was that a thing back
for
then?
sure.
Oh, yeah, bro. Friends with
I don't
benefits.
know. You guys are so freaking old.
Hey, Friends with Benefits have been around since like the wagon days. I mean, you know what I mean? You don't think...
I know that that opportunity existed. I'm asking if the term was as like prevalent as it was when I was like in that age.
Oh, we were definitely just friends fucking around. It wasn't... Neither of us had a desire
how y'all said
to...
it back then.
Friends fucking around. That's why I'm saying it from now on.
Yeah,
I'll tell you that
more
much.
sense, honestly.
We had no desire to pursue a relationship. And then honestly, it's been so long that I don't remember where we pivoted to dating and then being exclusive and then...
Pivot.
It happened at some point, but I don't remember. I'm sure he would argue with me that it happened whenever, but...
I'm sure he has the date written down somewhere.
Knowing him, probably.
I think that it's just like, probably a good relationship does it. You don't have time for timestamps. You know what I mean? Like you're just kind of, you're in it. And so I think that I think it's a credit to like y'all's marriage. And
I do remember the date. I do remember the date of his proposal. It was February 21st. And that's only because it was a day after Rachel's birthday, which is February 20th. And we had gone out to dinner that night. But for some reason, that date has always stuck in my head. I remember our wedding date half the time? I don't. It's in July. I want to say the 24th. But I can always remember for sure the date he proposed to me. So
I don't think, I don't think being a person that doesn't remember dates makes you a bad person.
No, I agree.
Like it just.
And I am not just heartbroken.
Hey, look, some people are. Some people are. Recognize if your partner's not, and don't expect them to do it if it's not something that they do.
Half the time, I don't even remember it's my birthday. Like the boys or Jared will be like, "Hey, your birthday's on Wednesday." I was like, "Oh shit, it is, isn't it?" Like I don't even.
You mean he hasn't told you before? Like I feel like
he'd be like,
party,
"Hey, Renee, your birthday's in 3 months. What do you want to do?"
He's trying to party.
No.
Your birthday's in 2 months. What do you want to do?
No, like
Renee, we really need to plan. Your birthday's in 2.5 months. We need. What are we doing?
We've been at a party in 2 weeks. We need.
Hey, I love you, Jared.
No.
Hey, you're good. Yeah, you're good at parties. Don't be butthurt about it.
Nobody throws a party like Jared.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. So
nobody makes sure it's successful. Like
okay, so back to we're gonna circle all the way back around to we were talking about how y'all two met at the Bachelorette party in Vegas, right?
Yeah. Oh,
2016.
So I want to know.
That's one of my favorite stories ever because I met you before I met your husband. I saw your husband first.
But I want y'all to.
He was doing Jared things.
Remember how you were talking about like your inner circle,
yeah,
and like and I feel like. Correct me if I'm wrong, probably somewhere on that trip, did Joe kind of hit that or did it happen that quickly or did you have to like hang out with Joe more? Do you know what I mean? Like,
it happened way after that.
It did. Because, I mean, obviously I remember you from the Vegas trip. I just remember you and Jared hit it off really well.
We did.
Because it was the whole, you're my spirit animal.
We are spirit animals.
That's all I can remember from, between y'all two. That's all I remember from the Vegas trip is this is my spirit animal.
Hey everybody, you can find this shirt and the shirt for season 1 with all the guests on it on amgpstore.com.